So you're wondering how to boost your child's confidence? I've got an expert today. Nicholeen Peck joins us at Live on Purpose TV. There's a lot of tasks that we take on as parents. There's a lot of things we try to get our kids to do or understand or experience. And one of those things that came up for today's video is confidence. Nicholeen, I know you've got some opinions about this. And by the way, folks, if you haven't seen Nicholeen yet at Live on Purpose TV, she's a returning guest and one of the most thoughtful, I think, parenting experts that I've ever encountered. Nicholeen, I love the philosophy of teaching self-government, and you can get to her material at teachingselfgovernment.com. There's a link down there in the description. All kinds of fun things there, including a fun little reality video that you did for the BBC. Anyway, we won't get into that right now. You and I talked about that at Live on Purpose Radio. So yes. You can also go find the interview I did with Nicholeen at Live on Purpose Radio. But without getting too distracted by all of that fun stuff, confidence.
Yes.
Maybe we should define that first, huh?
I would love to define that.
Yeah, take that on.
So the word confidence comes from the word confide. The word confide means to trust, to rely on with faithfulness. That's a big thing to think of, because when a person learns confidence, where do they learn it from? They've got to get that confidence from somebody they trust or rely on with faithfulness. And if you think of most confident people you know, they usually came from a home where the parents were confident, right?
Right.
So also the word confidence means having integrity. It means safety. These are huge things. These and of course mindfulness, boldness. There are things that we often would attribute to what confidence or being confident is, but I think the thing that people don't realize is that confidence is actually something that is environmentally learned. So I had a father who was incredibly confident. And I resonated with him a lot. And people would always tell me as a child, "You're so confident. How are you so confident?" And I thought, I don't know. That's just how I am. You know?
Well, that's what had been modeled to you.
It was. Yeah.
So obviously you can see, as you introduced this, Nicholeen, it becomes very obvious that your role as a parent matters a whole lot. What you will model for your children is what they're going to pick up on. And like you were saying, it naturally becomes part of who you are because that's what you've been...
It's your environment.
...educated and trained to accept as the norm.
Well, we all learn by what we see.
Right.
So that's a huge thing. And I think that, I'm hearing parents like coming through right now saying, but there are things I don't know everything about. There are things I'm not confident in. What do I do? And parents contact me all the time saying, okay, what do I do about this? What do I do about this? Okay, they have an attitude problem. They have a lying problem. What do I do? And so this is, my support groups. And when I'm talking to people regularly, weekly, all the time, they're asking me these things because they're lacking some confidence. And what I found is there's certain key things that a parent can do to have confidence that will then instill confidence in the child. So I'd like to mention that, and then another key thing that you can just do specifically for the children, keeping in mind helping them learn confidence.
Beautiful.
So those are kind of the two places I want to go, if that's okay.
Starting as we often do here on this channel. Starting with you.
It's so
as
important.
A parent. Yeah.
You can't just you can't just fix a child with a problem. You can't just say, this child has this one issue, I'm going to fix them. As a previous foster parent as troubled teens, I know that to fix the hardest thing or the smallest thing, you have to fix the whole group of people. Starting with the parents, you have to fix the whole environment in the family. It's not just targeting one individual. So it always goes back to the parents. It does.
Back. So as a parent, what can I do about confidence?
Okay, so you have to learn some skills. That's an important thing. So how do you handle it when something goes wrong? Do you make it up as you go? Because that can be really stressful.
Yeah.
I mean, it really can. If you
Sure.
don't know what you're going to say ahead of time, then you could end up getting too emotional. You could feel like you've done it wrong after that, because then you've got tons of guilt. So when you parent your children, do you always feel guilt afterward? If so, then you're probably lacking some skills. So with the things
Right.
that we teach children 4 basic skills, and parents need these too, but how to follow instructions, accept no answers, accept consequences, and disagree appropriately. But then we teach parents 5 skills that they
Okay.
need, okay? So, and these 5 skills teach them how to handle any problem, how to reinforce the good behaviors, and how to tackle the difficult behaviors without feeling like you had to make it up in the minute, and without feeling like you had to give emotion into it to get your point across or to solicit some emotion in the other person. So you don't have to power struggle, and a child doesn't have to be in tears for you to know you corrected them. You just need to say,
Right.
these are the skills and the words that I'm going to use. You teach them to the children ahead of time. And then you know you've done what you need to do. And the child knows that you've done what you need to do. They feel it's safe, right? That's one of those
That's
words
part
for
of the
confidence. Yeah, because you're predictable. And then they're now in this environment where they go, well, I know what my role is. I know what your role is. I know
Right.
how we solve problems together. That instills huge amounts of confidence.
Right.
Huge. If one person is going out of control, whether it's parent or child, and everyone else in the group is allowing them to manipulate the group, then what happens is everybody starts power struggling and the confidence of everybody
It
dies.
plummets. Yeah.
Yes. It's huge. So that's
Okay.
why, when I first started teaching parenting, I didn't want to tell everybody the exact, okay, these are the 5 steps for how to follow an instruction. I thought, I'll just
Right.
give people the basic principles, and but you know what people said to me? Okay, I want to do that, but you got to tell me,
How do
what
I
is
do
the
that?
skill? How do I actually do it? And so I
Right.
thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to tell everybody, these are the 6 steps I go through to how to correct a child. These are, but you've got to have decided that ahead of time. That is a key thing for a confident environment for the child.
Right. Nice. So as you increase your skills as a parent, your confidence will naturally increase, and you're already teaching your child how to increase confidence through your modeling,
Yeah.
through who you are as a parent.
It's huge. It's
Yes.
absolutely enormous. And your tone as a parent is important too. So I always tell people, and this isn't my statement, it actually comes from a man named, oh, darn it, I think it's William Jordan, old writer, wrote about calmness, an essay called The Majesty of Calmness. And he says that calmness is absolute confidence, ready to be focused in an instant to meet any crisis. Is that beautiful?
Wow.
And there's more to it than that. Self-reliance is confidence. There's all
Yes.
of these words. And so if you start understanding your tone, if you are a calm person, your children will be confident when they learn from you.
This is something
huge.
that I've learned from you, Nicholeen, and I think I quoted you on another video about keeping a calm voice, calm face, calm body. I hope you recognize that, 'cause I think I got it from
we use it all the time. Yes, it's part of
calm
the skill.
voice, calm face, calm body
It's huge.
conveys confidence,
Oh, it does.
and it inspires confidence.
It does. Well, and if you
It
think
can be
of it,
so simple.
any person that comes and attacks you or has a problem with you, and they're coming at you with a forceful or aggressive way, if you can look at them and think, I really love you and I want to know what you really are saying, all of a sudden you carry this strength, this integrity, this confidence
Right.
that then makes it so they don't even feel a need to go down that angry road anymore. It just changes everything.
Right.
The power is real and it's tangible. I know we don't
Wow.
have much time, but I want to talk also about one more thing for the children. If
Yes,
that's okay.
please.
So, because this is a big thing. So in the parenting things that I teach, I often talk about the skills and then how to correct them if they go wrong. And part of the corrections is earning extra chores in our family. Because Samuel Smiles, one of my favorite old-time authors, I love the old writers, he said work is the antidote for a sick character. And and so I use a lot of work in our home, and we work together as a family. That's part of our culture anyway, as a
Right.
family. But this work is something that they can use to build character. And what I've noticed with all of my troubled youth that I've worked with throughout the years is they come to my home thinking work is bad, okay? And I don't want it, and so an extra chore must be bad, and all these kinds of things. And then we start doing extra chores, and we start learning and really growing, working on the skills they need.
Connecting and all of that.
And their confidence just boosts. And then they start saying things like, I've never done this before. Look how good I did this. You know, when I did the BBC show, there was a 17-year-old boy who had never cleaned a bathroom before that they brought to my home. He earned an extra chore. We told him he needed to clean a bathroom. We had to teach him how to clean the bathroom. And then he came to me and he's like, Nicholeen, come look what I did. When I get back home to England, I'm going to do this. My mom is going to die.
And he's probably right.
No, seriously. Anyway, and I just looked at his happiness, his calmness, his security. And in our affluent society, we have gotten away from working, and even the parents think that work is bad. And everything is going toward just relaxing, just doing what you want in the moment, instead of bucking up and working as a family. And so we destroy the confidence of our children just by having too much playtime.
I thought about, as you were sharing that, Nicholeen, work is not a punishment.
No, it's a blessing.
What if we think about it as a correction?
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of a punishment. And the correction is simply, oh, this isn't going quite the way that it should. Let's see if we can get it corrected.
Well, and the work in what I teach is like a practice for doing things the right way. So if a child doesn't follow your instruction, and then you do a proper correction, which should hopefully help them also learn what they should have done correctly, and you go through the skills that they've already learned, and then you tell them they've earned an extra chore, well then this is an opportunity for them to follow an instruction and practice it the right way. And you have to have more practice doing things the right way than the wrong way in order to make them a habit.
I like that. I like the way you worded that. You've earned.
Oh, absolutely. And we don't give in our family because otherwise it's not self-government, is it?
Oh, interesting. Wow. Yeah. Well, there's a lot in that. And there's more. So really quickly, Nicholeen, before we sign off on this episode, you mentioned earlier that there are these 4 skills that children need to learn.
Yes.
And that there are 5 that we as parents need to learn. I don't think I caught those.
Oh, yeah. You know what? For speed, I probably didn't tell them. So
would you share those?
I'd be happy to. First is effective praising. So you need to learn how to do it, when to do it, right?
Okay.
And then pre-teaching the children. So this is describing and practicing ahead of time what's expected, getting everybody on the same page with how you're going to handle all the issues and everything.
Okay.
And how to do it macro pre-teaching and micro pre-teaching. There's different ways to do it. Pre-teaching. And then how to do effective correcting also. So non-emotional, effective correcting. And then intensive teaching. And there's different ways that we do intensive teaching based on the age and the cognitive ability of the child. Okay?
Right.
And then finally, parent counseling. And this is how to address a deeper, more isolated issues that you're wanting to make maybe an action plan with the child for. So how to do those things. Those are the 5 things that if parents can learn those ways of communication with their children, then everybody is going to feel more secure about all of the problem-solving communication that's happening at home.
And obviously you don't have to learn all of those on this episode of Live on Purpose TV.
No time.
Lots of resources down in the descriptions, and remember the playlist. We've got your back. You might want to check out some of Nicholeen's other resources available at Teaching Self-Government.